Thanks, Vicky, for inviting me to join you in here. And hello to everybody. There are a lot of people I know, and I'm very excited to see so many of you for this occasion. Well, after meeting you, I don't know, in very different occasions before. When I prepared for this meeting, I was much more thinking about this year of 2020 and how commemoration changed suddenly. And maybe my perspective on this is slightly different from others of yours, because I was also head of this organizational team for this year's commemoration. And that, of course, actually started in autumn last year, like for other memorial sites as well. And we started preparing for, and then invited not 200, but 120 survivors and their families and other second and third generation relatives of survivors. We had the DP children coming. So we prepared for a big event, a several days program that would involve almost everybody from the memorial staff. And we were looking forward to that, because that's a great opportunity to meet these people for whom and about whom we are working. And then suddenly it was all cancelled. Nothing happened. And that meant we had to change our plans of how will we deal with this completely. And while before we focused on the survivors and their relatives, that was our target group. It usually feels like a big event of a big family. We feel very much connected. And now suddenly we had to change our perspective. And so we realized we had to turn towards our usual visitors as those whom we would address and those whom we would have to invite to join us for this commemoration, because the survivors couldn't. They were not there, and they are not the ones who would join us, or maybe some would, but many of them would not join us for online and digital events. So I think one of the major shifts we took was looking at our visitors for an active commemoration on that one day in online events, and celebrating this day of liberation, because otherwise there was this fear of this day would go by unrecognized. Of course, we did have a small ceremony. There was but it was all. It felt so distant. We had to stand apart. It was only watching this via TV, so it felt completely different. And what we then focused on was really what we could offer to visitors instead. And of course, we prepared a website that we would have prepared anyway, but we also included a little guest book. Also there, the idea had been different originally. I still like this plan that we had of asking the survivors to visit the site virtually and leave a little note or whatever here or there, and then for other visitors to be able to see these and recognize these little notes and maybe comment on that or like them or whatever. That didn't work out, so in the end it was just an ordinary guest book, but that worked fine as well. And somehow that made us realize that what we will have to do throughout this year is really connect to our visitors and realize how important they are for our work, because they are the ones who also attach meaning to this site, whom we need to, that they are our, well, collaborators. Let me see what else. Of course, that also means that throughout this year, our programs changed. The shutdown of the museum also meant no more school classes, no more individual visitors, no visits at all. And then later on, restrictions in the museum and in the exhibition, and still no school classes even today. And that also means that some of our international programs would become online events. We had our summer school for the first time as an online event, which was great, as I can say now, but I was very nervous before that. And I can still say, of course, it was different. But thinking about next year and the next future, I can't say, well, it was worse or better. It was different. And maybe we will have to think of having these different forms of programs next to each other. Of course, also Bergen-Belsen started doing Instagram tours, and we started in a, I'm sure, still very clumsy and way engaging in these online activities. And we're trying to improve, and we're getting better. We will not stop that. It's a great opportunity to start and to learn about this. We just started conceptualizing hybrid forms for school groups mainly, to have a short visit on site for those who are in a distance to visit us in person, and have other parts to prepare and work on a visit afterwards. But that's just starting. That's completely new to us. Let me see, what else did I put down? Well, of course, there are other parts on which we have been working already for a while, like 3D applications, the reconstruction of the site, and trying to get an understanding of what do we want to offer visitors off-site remotely, and what impact does this remote visit have on them. We're aware of it, that it can't replace a visit physically, but what do visitors wish for and need to be able to connect to the site and its stories? What can we offer digitally apart from this reconstruction, perhaps? Yes, that is something that's an ongoing process, and there are a lot of people here with whom we collaborated in different projects on this, trying to work on soundscapes, 360-degree photography, what is suitable to what kind of audience. And I think this year showed many of us in memorials and elsewhere that we're still at a very early stage of shaping this process and this well, all these offers in digital forms, and we should really tackle that and go for it. I think even if we make mistakes on the way, but that's how it goes. That's a way of learning, I think.